This guy is insane. He's drifting his lunar rover all over the moon's surface like crazy. And that's not all. He's just drawn this massive, sexy pattern in the direction of Earth. Then he rips off this giant canvas revealing his lunar base inside. You'd think he's here on the moon for some scientific research. But no, he's actually hiding from debt. 2 years ago, he made a deal with the devil and became the world's richest man. But when the time's up, the devil takes his soul. He's brewed some coffee, got 2 cups ready, and he's staring at this bottle of potion on his table. He knows this sexy pattern is bound to attract the devil's envoy. Sure enough, not long after, a pentagram-shaped craft lands on the lunar surface. The man's smirk widens. Didn't expect the devil's envoy to show up so quickly. In walks this devilishly hot woman, dressed to kill. No need for a spacesuit on the moon. She's the envoy. Seems like these to have a history. The man is trying everything to seduce the devil's envoy, saying whatever cheesy lines he can think of. But the envoy clearly isn't buying it, threatening to take his soul if he doesn't come back with her. The man gets up, pours 2 cups of coffee, and while the envoy isn't looking, he pours the potion into her cup. Then he hands her the coffee. She takes a sip, and the man seizes the opportunity to close the door and make a run for it. At first, the envoy doesn't pay attention, but the man claims the door is made of titanium and the coffee she just drank suppresses her powers. The envoy gets furious, trying to open the door but fails. Yet, through the screen, she manages to knock the man down, shaking the entire base. The man quickly escapes, leaping to a safe zone, and triggers the detonator. The intense explosion causes the foundation to collapse, and the base, along with debris, plunges into the abyss. Turns out, it was all part of the man's plan. He lured the envoy to snatch her spaceship and continue his escape, but his getaway is far from over. In the debris, a hand emerges. A spacecraft is speeding wildly on Saturn's rings. This is way cooler than racing on Earth. No speed cameras. But the guy gets bored real quick. Apart from the unappetizing food, there's just a computer with an unknown password on the ship. So, he decides to make a quick trip to Uranus. But the ship suddenly stalls and anchors itself on Saturn's rings. He checks and finds out the energy's drained. Big trouble now. But the ship's charging method is bizarre. Needs the driver to commit crimes. The more sinister, the more energy it gets. Truly a devil's craft. He's all alone on this ship. Does it mean he has to commit crimes against himself? After thinking for a while, he can only curse. But the curses are too mild. Despite his lengthy swearing, the energy barely budges. The cabin's getting colder, and he's starting to regret this journey. Meanwhile, back on Earth, a tractor on a farm gets hit by a meteor, revealing a curvaceous woman. Turns out, she's the devil's envoy returning from the moon. After gearing up, she heads to the Earth office. Meanwhile, the devil is busy upgrading the Book of Life and Death. Paperless office seems like a struggle, and the ancient computer's response is painfully slow. Fortunately, the operation is quite simple. Only 3 options for each person: go to hell, pending, or resurrect on the spot. Just then, the envoy walks in, learning that the man has escaped. The devil isn't surprised. He had already expected this. That's why the ship wasn't fueled up too much, knowing the man wouldn't get too far. Through the ship's cameras, they see the man shivering from the cold. The devil appears through a hologram, ready to humiliate the man. But the man just surrenders and even tries to shake the devil's hand. The devil won't miss a chance to embarrass him, extends his hand, then retracts it. The man pretends to be upset and turns on the computer with no password. Closing the hologram, the devil senses something amiss and instructs the envoy to pilot another ship to retrieve the man's soul, and the man's body can be left for the envoy as a keepsake. The envoy sets off gleefully. Grassland on the farm suddenly cracks open, and a spacecraft rises slowly, leaving a hapless cow to fall from its wings. It turns out the devil's envoy is piloting the ship to hunt down the man. En route, she's planning to subject the man to all 10 tortures. The ship quickly arrives at Saturn's rings, and as the envoy steps out to claim the man's soul, the man surprisingly walks right into her trap. The envoy looks puzzled, while the man appears sorrowful. He gestures towards Saturn and says, "Look at how vast Saturn is. Humanity is so insignificant. Such a beautiful scenery. A perfect place for suicide." With that, he removes his helmet and is instantly frozen into an ice sculpture. Surprisingly, even the envoy feels a twinge of sorrow. She tries to take the man's soul, but his body is dragged back onto the ship. Back in the cabin, the man suddenly awakens. He's revived. It turns out, when he pretended to shake hands with the devil, he was trying to get him to drop a note. This allowed him to see the password. He then accessed the hell system in the computer and changed his option to resurrect on the spot. Everything was part of the man's design, suicide being a grave sin in religious beliefs. The ship's energy was nearly fully charged, though the envoy gave chase. It was too late. The man had already activated the ship. The debris from the exhaust crushed the envoy's ship on Saturn's rings. Meanwhile, the devil received a call from his steward, saying his account had been logged in from a different location on Saturn, and the Book of Life and Death had been tampered with. Then he received a taunting video from the man. Realizing he had been tricked, enraged, he let out a roar that shattered all the glass in the room, with the sound waves even reaching the spacecraft in Saturn's rings. The ship's energy instantly replenished, and the man smirked, increasing the ship's speed to the maximum. Outside the cabin, the devil's envoy clung to the spacecraft, uncertain of what kind of sparks would fly between them in the future.